Hello, everybody, LinkedIn family. This is Sandra, and I'm getting in your business today with Joanne. Now, Joanne and I are both from the same hometown, Toronto, or my hometown is Toronto. I'm not sure that's where yours is, but that was a connection. I was like, oh, she's from Toronto, so that interests me, obviously. And also, you are a fellow coach. Is that correct?
That's correct.
We don't know each other, but this is how I get to know people. So we're gonna just go for it, Joanne. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I wanted to ask you, what was your reason to become a coach?
Yeah. I think the first reason is seeing how coaching helped me. I first started working with a coach over 2 years ago. I was in a place in my life where I knew that there was something else for me in terms of a career, but I didn't know like what that was. And coaching helped me feel empowered because the person who I worked with was just really good at asking me questions and helping me arrive at my own answers. And it really got me to think. And the second benefit was like just having that support. Like she was just so kind and compassionate. She'd push me a little bit, but in a very loving way. And so I found that like as I was trying to create something that was different that no one else in my life really had, I had someone in there with me who was my partner.
Yeah, team player.
And so that was something that really stood out to me. And then since then, I've changed coaches, but I've been working with a coach in total for more than 2 years. And in my last job, I was a director of finance administration. And when we rolled out like a new upgraded learning and development program, we implemented like a monthly coaching call with your supervisor. And that was something I was responsible for HR. So I had a little bit of a bias towards this approach. But when I rolled that out with my team, we would talk about like, what are your wins? What are your lessons learned? Where are you stuck? And what I learned was it opened the door for me as a supervisor to have more effective conversations and to deliver feedback without coming across as like abrasive or judgmental. I discovered that people usually know what has them stuck and they usually know what's holding them back. And you just have to create that space for them to do that reflection. And then because they're inviting you in, it becomes easier to say, like, hey, like, I noticed there's this other thing going on. So as a leader, I realized that like this is a very powerful tool and all leaders should have this. So that's what really led me into creating my business, which is, in our program, we talk a lot about consult the problem, coach the human being. That was my model before even learning about the CBC program. So I was like, this is for me. Like, this is what I need to do.
Yeah,
So that's
I mean,
how I got here.
I can feel the passion for you coming through, and having a coach is a great idea when you are a coach, so that because we need it too. We need that support system. And it is okay to change your coaches. We don't have to make excuses for that, because sometimes when we grow, we need to grow. Our coach may grow with us and may not. And we don't take it personally if that happens to us. If somebody decides to go somewhere else, or our time is up, that is okay. So we don't that's the one thing. We don't take things personally, and we can't. Otherwise, we can't do our job, right? So that's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah,
I would. Do you know by heart your headline for your LinkedIn page?
I
Because
do.
I love it. Tell us what it is, even though people will see it anyway. I just want you to say it.
Yeah. So first, I label myself as a change maker. And I help mission driven executives and entrepreneurs go from busy to fulfilled. My mission is really to help people get unstuck and step back from the things that are taking up their time that really shouldn't, and give them the space to go do the thing that they were born or created to do. I think there's so many beautiful missions out there, and lots of big hearts that live in the humans that are out to create those missions. And it's a disservice if you are stuck in being busy or feeling drained or feeling spread too thin, because then you won't get around to doing that very thing that you're called to do.
I love it. Love it. I was actually, because before I do these interviews, I really like to just graze. I don't like to go too deep because I am not a reporter. Just want to make that clear to everybody. But because I just wanted to see kind of what you're about so that, but I was reading one of your posts. It's on the features section, so people want to go to that. But something you said at the end, it says here, if you are not someone who identifies as a woman, I have one simple request: listen, not to defend, but to understand. Understand that my freedom is rooted in your freedom, and your freedom is rooted in mine. Until we are all free, none of us are. Lead with love. I just thought that was so powerful. Really, really. Where does this come from for you? Like your deep passion.
Mhm. Yeah, so I have identified as a women's rights advocate since I was a teenager. I don't know what it is about that that just drew me in. And in my last job where I worked was for an organization, an international NGO that focused on advancing the rights of women and girls around the world. And through working there, I just got really educated about systemic oppression and understanding some of the things that are deep rooted in our systems or culture, and how to create positive change in the world through that lens. And in the last couple of years, there's been, I think a lot of organizations have had a great focus on diversity, inclusion, anti-racism, anti-oppression. And that concept of like, my freedom is rooted in yours, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I discovered. And I just think it's a very powerful way to express what we're actually trying to create. Because in a lot of these rights-based movements, like sometimes they can come across as like judgmental and leave the other person who's meant to be the audience as defensive. And I know, like, for me, sometimes in conversations with men and I talk about women's rights, like they automatically get defensive. And so I felt like there has to be a different way to frame this so that they can see that they're part of the solution. They're not the enemy. And I think that post blew up. I like think it got like 12,000 views, which was like
Oh,
really,
I didn't even go that far because
yeah.
I was so struck by your grace, and just it was just a beautiful post, and I just wanted to, because I stopped right there and I didn't go any further. And yeah, because yeah, it was just phenomenal, and very powerful. And I have to agree with you. It's sometimes because I talk about women's empowerment. That's just my, because I'm female, and I grew up in a very mother father nuclear family. My dad worked, my mom stayed at home, and she raised us, and it was basically the woman behind the man. And it's kind of like you grow up and you wonder, like, is that the way it has to be, and you question it. And I find that there are a lot of men who get defensive, yes, but there are a lot of men who are in touch with their whole self, like their feminine side, I'll just say it, and they aren't offended and they support. So it's unfortunate because it shouldn't be a threat, but we've had to fight a lot for what we have right now, and we have a lot of power, which is a good thing, but it does threaten. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that's a really important topic to talk about. But since we don't have a lot of time on this call, I wanted to ask you if you have anything exciting coming up, or any plans, any programs going that we can share with the LinkedIn family.
Yeah, so I just launched a newsletter this week,
I
and
got it.
it is pinned to the profile. So if anyone's interested, get in there. One edition, it's the first edition's come out, so there's going to be a lot more to come. I'm really excited about that. And through there, people can expect to receive really just the ins and outs of the entrepreneurial journey. I've learned through speaking with other entrepreneurs that like the problems are the same, like, and a lot of people feel lonely. And so I'm, going to take that step of courage and sort of pull back the veil and show like, yes, these are the wins and the exciting things that are happening, but these are the struggles, and actually share with people like how I'm breaking through those struggles. in a way to build more community and to empower others. And then, yeah, I'll be giving some updates in terms of some offerings. I will be doing a workshop next month. I've got a tentative date scheduled. So if you subscribe to the newsletter, you'll
You'll find
definitely
out.
yeah. And my website will be launching in the next couple of weeks too. So definitely look out for that.
You have a lot going on. It's fantastic. I love your branding, your message. I always learn something from doing this, and that's why I'm doing it because I really it's not out of I'm not necessarily nosy, and because I don't get in people's business like their personal business, but I do want to know like why are you doing what you're doing? Like where did this come from, and what is your inspiration? Because we all have a story and
Yeah.
I just really wanted to know. And I really learned a lot about you today. So I hope people, I will have the link for your profile in the header for this when I post it. But if you wanted to share something like even an e-booking, I don't care. Once I post it, you can post where what you want from there. So just letting you know. Now, so we're going to wrap this up. Joanne, I want to thank you so much for taking the time today. I think if anybody wants to connect with you, get in touch with you, they can find your link on this post. And if you do have anything coming up that you want to share again at a later date, absolutely welcome to do that. Just reach out to me and we'll do that. Sound good?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.